do
Yeah.
5 o'clock. Like it really is.
Virtual wine tasting with Ron and Ilana.
Oh, what a dream.
Let's do it.
What a dream. Cheers. All right. Well, we're here. We're live. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Ron Andrews, you just got back from CXO, DMSC, Brian Pash conference in Arizona. Lots of buzz for a lot of reasons. So we'll chat 5-10 minutes. I had a lot of FOMO because I couldn't go. Those are the Brian Pash conference is one of my favorite conferences. So let's get up to speed on some of the things that people were talking about. I'm sure Fullpath was getting a lot of buzz there as well. But let's talk about some of the things that came up, and we'll enlighten the audience here.
Yeah, that sounds good. We did miss you out there, Ilana.
Yes, next time.
Miss great weather too.
I won't miss a West Palm conference, so count me in on MRC.
Yeah, sure. Deal. No, there's a lot of really good energy there. The CXO Summit is great because it has some of the most innovative dealer groups in the country that are a part of it. They all have to have 10 or more rooftops. So they also understand scale, and all the conversation right now is around AI, but it's not just experimentation, it's about execution. And hearing what's working and what's not from some of these groups was really, really interesting. And then being able to share everything that we're working on and how we're thinking about data architecture and how the Fullpath platform can really be your AI operating system. There was a lot of light bulb moments during our presentation, and it carried over into some great content and some great conversations over the next couple of days at DMSC as well.
So what were some of the, again, just because I wasn't there and I want to get up to speed here, what were some of the biggest data challenges that came up in the room there at CXO?
There's a lot of solutions coming to market, and they're all, for the most part, trying to plug into the legacy data silos. And I think what dealers are finding is your AI is going to be limited unless you're giving it really rich data to be able to operate off of. And that's not to say that there's not valuable data that exists within a CRM or a DMS. But I think context is absolutely critical to allow an AI, an agent, to be able to operate as though it's like one of your employees. And the dealers that are having some frustrations with AI and agents is that they're often too generic, or they get tripped up very easily, or they're not exactly able to operate in a way that aligns with their specific store's processes and expectations and work in synergy with their people. And I think, when you can get all of that aligned, that's where the magic really happens. And that's where you get significantly improved efficiency and performance.
Yeah, I feel like this particular conversation too is the easiest way for any human to understand the real impact of the next gen of AI and AI agents, because it's so similar to how humans operate, right? Like if you consider a new employee that you're training, they can't do anything without context. So it's really like, for the first time, okay, copy paste how humans are trained, are learn, interact with other people, and now make it really easy for people to understand that that's how their data infrastructure should be set up so that their agents can then operate. Obviously, this has always been the case, but somehow the way that we're talking about and this next generation of AI that we're integrating into our softwares really does feel so human-like because of the way that we need to understand how it's set up to be successful.
Yeah, when it's done right, it should feel as though you're interacting with a human. You shouldn't even be able to really tell the difference.
Yeah.
But that's tough to pull off. It's easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
So I think at the beginning of our presentation, it was really cool to go around the room and ask people to share ways that they're leveraging AI that are very unique or the most impactful in their personal lives. And then to carry through, like, well, hey, how did you set that up? How did you get that to work? What did you have to experiment with? What didn't work to get you to the point you are now? And then to carry that through into like the business applications. I thought it was really, really cool to kind of like pull all that together and to, really, really tie things together from some of those examples.
Yeah, that's great. And so then that carried into DMSC, like you mentioned. Any other hot topics that came up there, either related to data or beyond at the conference?
Yeah, right now dealers are under a lot of pressure with new regulations. The FTC stuff came up quite a bit, and then of course like consent management and opt-ins and opt-outs and unsubscribes and all these things now that if a dealer's not paying attention to or solving for, presents a pretty significant risk for them in their stores. And there's already some pretty high profile, high dollar lawsuits and fines and things that are taking place in automotive. So dealers are scrambling, trying to figure it out to make sure that they protect themselves.
Yeah, and CDPs can really, I mean, again, of course, Fullpath, but beyond CDPs centralize that the data, the consent, anything that you want, any information that you want to centralize on a shopper should really be housed in something like a customer data platform so that you can then from there, activate and update and do whatever you need to do within the guidelines so that your dealership can, stay within that compliance. Was that connection talked about? Like, where did the solution around consent management come up in at DMSC?
Yeah, I think it's all about connectivity. And yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Like the CDP is this connection point for all of your different data sources, both in your core tech stack, but in your entire digital ecosystem. So all of that now is interacting with customers in different ways. It lives on your website, it lives in your marketing, it could be agents that are activating, like all these things. If everything's connecting back into the CDP, then that kind of becomes your consent management hub. Um, and obviously, we got to work with a lot of different providers.
Yep.
Incredibly proud that we have over 220 API integrations like already set, ready to go. But that there's still a lot more across the industry that like we need to be working with. But I think overall, data architecture, and then even now with some of this consent management stuff that's coming up, it's really just forcing the industry as a whole to integrate and talk to each other and work across different companies in ways like never before. And that's opening up a ton of opportunity for dealers, but also solving some real problems right now.
Yeah, again, I mentioned this in the beginning. This conference is one of my favorite, and really kudos to Brian on it. But it's because these conversations drive the innovation on the dealer side, but it also drives the innovation on the partner and vendor side, right? Like you get technology companies talking to each other and figuring out how do we create this connectivity so that our dealers can have the best experience and stay compliant and bring back loyal customers over and over again. So that I'm sure there was a lot of that going on. Again, my FOMO is probably tangible at this point. Any like look forwards, anything that you think, what will be continued conversation into the, fall conference season and beyond that we can end here with?
Um, we've been doing a lot of education around MCPs in some of the 20 group presentations that we've been doing. We shared a little bit of Fullpath MCP toolkit that we have within our developer portal. And we just overall just trying to educate around that topic and how that's going to create better connection and allow dealers to have better access to their data, to power AI applications, but also allow different companies to work better and more seamlessly together as well. So I think we're just scratching the surface on that topic as a whole. And I think that's going to continue to grow as a focal point, and conversations are going to expand on that as we continue in 2026 and beyond.
Yeah, and just to there's so many acronyms in our lovely interface. So, and this doesn't apply only to automotive, but MCP, model context protocol. It's how the AI agents get the context that they need in order to perform and work as human like as possible. So I'm excited for that continued conversation. Ron, every time that you can give us information about your insights and what you've experienced, always super helpful. Next time I'm gonna go to your house and bring some of the wine for it's 5 o'clock somewhere because I see that's
Hey,
where the stash is.
yeah, we got a couple bottles we can crack into. So come on over.
Awesome.
We can do this thing live in the same spot.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ron. We look forward to, the next one and hearing more about what's up in the industry. Again, FOMO, but I'm glad you got to give us lowdown. So thanks again, Ron. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Lana. We'll see you soon.